What happened to 10,000 asylum patients? The Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum once held more than 35,000 people, and more than 10,000 died on the premises. Their records were destroyed. What happened to them? The year was 1938, when the gates of the Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum swung open to admit yet another patient. Within its high brick walls, out of sight and out of mind from the rest of society, the asylum carried out some of the most inhumane experiments on these poor souls who had nowhere else to turn. But then, in 1994, after 156 years of operation, the asylum closed its doors for good. And with that, the stories of the 10,000 patients who died there were buried, literally. Their bodies were exhumed and their remains put into unmarked graves. So, what happened to those 10,000 patients? It's me. Welcome to my channel, and today we are exploring the disturbing and tragic story of the forgotten patients of history as asylums, as revealed by their fragmented records and declassified files. Asylums were meant to be places of refuge, sanctuaries for the mentally ill to be rehabilitated back into society. But the truth was far from it. Behind the high walls of these institutions lurked unspeakable horrors. In this first episode of Forgotten Archives, we will uncover the dark secrets surrounding the Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum. Established in 1838, the Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum, also known as the Hospital for the Insane, was one of the largest psychiatric hospitals in the United States. Throughout its existence, it held over 100,000 patients within its 4 hospital wings. Overcrowding was a constant problem here. By the 1920s, the institution had become so overcrowded that it could no longer provide adequate care for its patients. This led to the construction of a new hospital building in 1925, which increased the patient capacity to 6,000. But it wasn't just overcrowding. The asylum had its share of dark days. From 1909 to 1934, under the direction of Dr. Frank Overstreet, lobotomies were performed on 537 patients. The lobotomy, a procedure that severs the connections in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, was supposed to alleviate severe psychological symptoms. However, many patients never recovered from the procedure and died. These deaths were kept secret from the patients' families, who were instead told that their loved ones had passed away from natural causes. Even after lobotomy was outlawed in 1938, the asylum continued to perform the procedure on patients without telling anyone. It wasn't until 1950 that the lobotomy files were finally opened and the truth was brought to light. After 156 years of operation, the Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum closed its doors for good in 1994. Before its closure, the asylum conducted mass exhumations of patients who had died there. The exhumation process was not done in a respectful manner. The remains were placed in plastic bags along with identifying information such as the patient's name, admission date, and cause of death. The remains were then transferred to the Mississippi State Hospital Cemetery for burial. In the ensuing years, the cemetery became an illegal dumping ground for unwanted human remains. It was only in 2001 that the practice of burying the remains of unknown people stopped and the cemetery was finally closed. In total, the remains of more than 10,000 patients were exhumed and reburied in the Mississippi State Hospital Cemetery. But even there, their stories didn't end. After the asylum closed, the cemetery was vandalized and many of the headstones were destroyed. It was as if the state wanted to erase all memory of these poor souls who had suffered and died there. What happened to them? Where are they now? The records tell a story of unimaginable cruelty and neglect. In the early 1900s, lobotomies were performed on hundreds of patients without their families' knowledge. Many never recovered and died, their deaths covered up as natural causes. When the asylum closed in 1994, over 10,000 bodies were exhumed and buried in an unmarked grave. The cemetery was then vandalized, leaving many headstones destroyed or unreadable. Despite all attempts to erase their memory, these patient stories deserve to be remembered. They are a reminder of the darkest days of the asylum and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Their stories may be fragmented, but their legacy should not be forgotten. Join us next time as we continue to explore the forgotten archives and uncover more disturbing stories of the past. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious.